Baby, I can't make a goddamn dollar with these leads, and you're killing my ass on the street.
I'm sorry you aren't happy here.
Yes, well, that's very cute, but you're running this office like a bunch of bullshit. You're on an override. You make money, we make money.
I'd like you to make more money.
Hey, give me a better lead and don't go waste my time. A sales conference?
The strategy comes from downtown.
Oh, the strategy? The strategy? Well, I think I'll pass.
I wouldn't.
Why's that?
When you come, then you'll see.
All right, everyone, welcome back to Gundam at MAHQ. This is one of your hosts, Neo, and joining with me always is Soul Bro and Chris. Guys, say hello.
The saga continues.
Yo, I'm so cool. Too cool for school. And, hey there. And this is episode 127 of Gundam at MAHQ. And this episode, we're going to be having two topics, returning back to two topics. We're going to be doing, our first topic is going to be our thoughts and reviews of Volume 2 of Gundam The Origin that recently was released a few weeks ago. So we'll definitely be going on that. Of course, it's kind of at the same point that we read when the old Viz stuff is there, but it was always good to go back down memory row. And the next segment's going to be all of the recent Gundam news that's come out in some of the summer conventions so far and via the internet and the whole, all the things that are going on. So it's just some of our thoughts and discussions on some of the up-to-date news at this point. Guys, anything before we get to some Neo's listener-submitted news?
I do want to throw out one brief thing.
Sure.
Which I actually have for once. And that is that you can check out Chaos Theater's new YouTube channel.
Oh, all right.
Which at the moment that we're recording this, there's nothing there, but hopefully by the time the episode comes out, there will be things. So we will be posting all of the episodes there, starting with the most recent and going backwards. So if you go to YouTube, just look up Chaos Theater MAHQ. And there's also a link to it there from the Gundam YouTube channel.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this podcast episode 2 years from the date it was done, then you'll notice there's lots of stuff pasted here. So, and I think this now lays the gauntlet down to Soulbro to start posting up episodes of Gundam, starting with 127 here and moving backwards to Soulbro. The challenge is yours.
Wow, thank you for putting me to task.
I think the mathematics guarantee that he's going to lose that challenge.
Oh, wow.
And I implore all listeners, though, to give Soulbro motivation. Once this is up on the podcast, if it's not on the YouTube within a week, give him some email motivation.
There you go.
There you go.
Some Twitter motivation. That's
exactly.
Probably be more direct.
Or just bug him on the Facebook group.
There you go. Bug me 24/7. My phone gets every message. F you both.
Hey, I'm rooting for you, but I'm just saying,
I know,
simple math of 127 versus 52, not even counting specials.
And we gave you a strategy that you should employ, so.
Well, I am hyped to do it.
Yeah.
We'll get it done.
You got to get this done. Hey.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right.
That's it. So back to you, Neo.
Sounds good. So we're going to be going into some Neo's listener-submitted news articles. And if you ever have any news articles you'd like to post there, always go to the Neo's Listener Submitted News Articles thread in the Gundam section of the Mecha Talk forum. And the first one here is actually from Mr. Vent Noir, Evil Australian. And this is coming from Crunchyroll.com. And it says that Production IG is aiming to make Ghost in the Shell their Gundam. How's that possible? It never got canceled. It was always good. It was always accepted from the beginning, right?
Well, in the beginning, it was a bigger hit in America than it was in Japan. It didn't really take off in Japan until Standalone Complex.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah, they the release of Ghost in the Shell Arise, Production IG founder Misashima Ishikawa has discussed the history and the future of the series, and saying that they're trying to make this into a continuing franchise along the lines of Gundam, how it serves Sunrise in so many ways. So, yeah.
And of course, we can look forward to that domestic release by Funimation.
Or Funimation.
Yes, as some might say.
As some might say, huh?
Tomato, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So thank you, Mr. Vent Noir, Evil friggin' Australian, for your submission. And next one here is Bertman Forrest just got a post. He said he didn't have an English site here, but he does have a link. It sounds like SPT Lasner is going to be getting some Blu-ray treatment. So as we get some English sites or whatever to let us know
In
what's
Japan, no English subs and really expensive.
God
Well-
dang it.
Yeah, but we could always look forward to methods, maybe with words
Sure,
on.
methods. Yeah.
Methods. Yeah. So
Yeah, methods.
methods, eh?
Yeah, that's
So-
the ticket.
So thank you, Mr. Bertman, for your submission. Next one here comes from Tochiro, and he's got a link here from Macross World, and I know we've been talking about this, but the Macross Museum is now open. And his link here has got some pictures of that VF1 cockpit, and it's got a little Japanese girl in there, and a bunch of little things going on with the museum itself. Looks like Basara's guitar, and of course Clapton Global, and lots of swag and lots of merchandise for people to buy. So definitely check that out. And I'm actually surprised it wasn't Arbiter doing that, but I guess he's slipping. So
Is there an adjoining Macross cafe where one can order pineapple salads and thus tempt doom?
Yeah, I do. It doesn't say anything about a pineapple. It doesn't say anything about a cafe here, and I don't.
There
really
should be.
Yeah, there should be. Yeah, it should be just be
Be
a
like
a
red pill,
pineapple.
blue pill, pineapple cake, or pineapple salad.
Always the cake. Always the cake. So, thank you, Mr. Chochiro, for your submission. Next one here comes from EA NetDude, and he's got a link here, and this has already started.
Oh, yeah.
And this is the streaming has started on the website Gundam.info, and they started off with Gundam 00. So definitely check that out. So this is here. They're going to be having 5 new episodes each Friday, and the streaming started on July 5th. So this Friday would be the second batch of 5 new episodes. So you have no excuse to not watch Gundam or watch anime streaming now. So thank you, Mr. EA NetDude, for your submission. Next one here comes from Vent Noir, and he's got a link here showing from IO9. There's a little Pacific Rim featurette that's showing off the humans inside the robots. So it's just a little YouTube thing. So definitely check that out. I know that's the long-awaited mecha movie, Mechaverse giant monsters, undersea monsters from another dimension movie. So
That Variety can't get enough of bashing the hell out of.
Ooh, no, they cannot.
oh really? Yeah, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they got the knives out. They got a real thing against that movie.
They're like the only ones, because everybody else, from what I've heard, has been singing its praises. So
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Even people like Hermione and the RZA, man, he loved it. Him and his son went to go see it.
Even Kanye loved it.
Kanye loved it, and of course,
That's
like
a
anything.
exactly. And Hideo Kojima, creator of Metal Gear and that whole series, he loved the hell out of it. He wrote a love sonnet to it on Twitter, man. He really enjoyed that movie.
By the
So-
way, I don't know if this is a Neo's news item in which I may be soul broing,
Okay.
but if it's not, there's a piece of art everyone should check out. There's a Japanese Pacific Rim poster featuring the Gypsy Danger as drawn by Yoji Shinkawa of Metal Gear and Zone of the Enders fame.
And it's
Yeah.
glorious.
It is.
It is pretty cool.
It actually, to me, it looks a lot like the Union flag, but bigger.
It does. And you know what's funny is I just wonder, what do you think after this movie's released here in America? What's the countdown for it getting one of those cross promotional like animes in Japan? Kind of like those Marvel animes. I can really see this possibly being a Japanese anime. Down.
I would love it if that were the case.
Yeah.
It's getting a lot of high praise out of all the the people who've seen it in Japan, and I kind of think that might be at least an OVA or something might come out of all of this.
Are you making a prediction here?
I'm making a prediction. Why not? I'll throw my hat into the ring.
Ooh.
But I am concerned about its performance here in the States, man. It's not tracking very well.
Well, yeah, but that's Variety's. That's only Variety reporting that, so don't believe their hype because clearly they're carrying out these dirty deeds for somebody. So don't believe any of their bullshit.
They say a lot of the skullduggery behind this might be because of the separation between Warner Brothers and Legendary Pictures, which I guess they had kind of a divorce recently.
They just did, as Legendary signed with NBC Universal for a, I believe, 8-year deal, and it could be there's some sour grapes over at Warner Brothers, so they said let's trash this last movie of theirs and see if it goes to hell. So don't believe Variety; they're full of crap.
They are full of shit.
Yeah, I like I said, I didn't know Variety was like that, but all the other outlets that I've kind of seen is everybody's been loving this thing. So it does what it's supposed to do. But thank you, Mr. Vent Noir, for your submission. Next one here comes from do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Is that our official hold music?
Do 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 do. Oh yes. Quick one here from Arbiter Gundam. He's got a link here. The Wings of Honomise is going to go to Blu-ray in October. So
and affordable at that.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah, no more Bandai Visual. Good riddance. I'm glad I never bought it.
Yeah, it's going to the Blu-ray disc is going to retail for $39. So it's not that bad. So being released by Made in Japan. Yeah, there's no excuse at this point. So thank you.
Before you get it, go listen to us talk about it.
Exactly.
There you go.
Get excited about buying it.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, Mr. Arbiter Gundam, for your non-Macross submission. That's very, very, very unbelievable there. So next one here. Man, Vent Noir, he knows what I like, and it's Pacific Rim. He's got another link here for IO9, and there's another little video that's showing all the kaiju secrets. So definitely check that out. We know that's going to be some good stuff. So thank you, Evil Australian Vent Noir, for your submission. Oh, next one here, man. Arbiter Gundam he must have a falling out with Macross World, because he gave me, and he did this correctly, the Serbay News Alert. This is our first one of the day. Serbay News Alert, and it looks like Serbay blew up Michigan. A scene for Transformers 4 was filmed in Lenawee County, Michigan. And they said there was some high-speed drama, some explosions. It was delayed to the rain. The rain was delayed some of those explosions, but once the rain subsided, the explosions began. So, and there's actually a link to the local news affiliate, local ABC News affiliate, talking about this amazing thing. So thank you, Mr. Arbiter Gundam, for the Survey's News Alert. And EA NetDude gives us another Survey News Alert, and this is going to his bayness.com, and he's got a link here, and it shows you what Bumblebee is going to look like. He's going to be a new 2014 concept Camaro, and I got to say, this Camaro looks pretty good. I kind of like the way this looks, a little bit better than the previous ones. So definitely check that out. And thank you, Mr. EA NetDude, for your submission. Oh my God, and it just keeps coming. The next one here comes from Mr. Silver August, the man who began the Survey News Alert format, and he's got it linking it to Sabertron.com. Survey has got a favorite Transformer. It's actually Sabertron is linking a favorite Transformer poll that's on michaelbay.com. So it's got it says, who is your favorite Transformer so far? And I'm just going to read these really quick. Optimus, the Bumblebee, the 67 Camaro, the Concept Camaro above Bumblebee, the Bugatti Sport, the Corvette Stingray, Hound is the medium tactical vehicle, the Lamborghini Aventador, the Chevy Sonic, the Pagani Huayra, whatever, they can't even say it on freaking Top Gear. I can't even say it here. Or the or the new 2014 Argosy by Freightliner. That's the way that Optimus looks there. So definitely vote to see what do you think. What would be your favorites, guys? Before we move on to the next article.
Oh, the Bugatti all day, without a question.
I'll vote for incomprehensible slab of metal.
There you go.
Which there'll be plenty in this movie.
That's the write-in. That is the write-in vote. So thank you, Mr. Silver August, for this survey news alert. And we don't have any more at this point. And the next article we have here comes from Rodimus76, and I think this is the first time we're calling his name in the news segment this episode, and it seems that he's slipping here.
Oh.
But James Cameron, you heard of this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? He still wants to make Battle Angel. He's been talking about this for what, 65 years now?
And I'll believe
Pretty
that
much.
shit. I'll believe that shit when I see it. I'm done.
I think he was talking about Battle Angel before Titanic.
Oh my God, yes, he was in the mid '90s. I remember that shit because I was reading the manga back then, and it's like, yo, he's gonna do a movie, Battle Angel,
as a young lad.
Well, hey, on top of that, he was talking about doing one as doing Spider-Man before that. That never fucking happened. Oh, sorry.
Thank God his Spider-Man never happened. Because that outline I read of that Spider-Man was atrocious.
Yeah, but Battle Angel, that mess ain't coming. But go ahead, Neil. I'm sorry.
Well, it's just saying here that it's talking about, basically all the things. This is off the Geek Tyrant, and it's basically saying all the things that you're saying, and gives a little synopsis of Battle Angel. And he's talking about how James Cameron's saying one thing is shooting in 3D, is another's converting it to, and he says, now everything's changed because they can now shoot in 3D, so this means that I can do this, blah blah blah. And like you said, I'll believe it when I see it.
He says it's going to come out after Avatar 3. I'm going to throw down a claim right now.
Yeah.
My claim is Marvel gets the rights back to Spider-Man, X-Men, and Fantastic Four long before James Cameron ever makes Battle Angel.
Whoa, you're throwing down the gauntlet. I'll take you up on that, man. I'm right there with you because we ain't ever seen that movie.
Yeah, I got to say that's I'll play with you on that one too, because that's the smart money. The smart money's on that's going to happen before he puts out Battle Angel.
And at this point, I don't even know if he could do it well. I'd rather see Neil Blomkamp do it or somebody else, because at this point, I don't know. I don't know if his Battle Angel would be. I read
H.A. Abrams.
Nah, I love that manga to death. I've read the original series and halfway through the new manga series that's currently running.
Done by Damon Lindelof.
No, go away. Let's move on.
Don't put that curse on me, Ricky Bobby, please.
You should never wish Damon Lindelof upon anybody.
Hey, I'm just saying. Thank you, Mr. Rodimus76, for your submission. Next one here comes from Vent Noir, and this is our final one of the day. And it's saying, and this is also from IO9, and there is now a trailer that's got Idris Elba canceling the apocalypse 1,000,000 times.
What?
Yeah. I guess some people have just done some stupid things with his, doing the canceling the apocalypse stuff. And they're also talking here about how that's been the most prevalent scene in any one of the trailers. A lot of trailers don't mix and match stuff, but it's like is in every one of them. So, and that speech sounds like it's going to be freaking awesome. So
I saw it behind the scenes with him. He actually said he was practicing in it in the bathroom and all sorts of places before he actually did it on stage. But Idris he's been out promoting that movie like a fiend this week, man, and God bless him, man.
Has anybody asked him though?
I mean,
Wallace?
I wish someone would. I saw a trailer with Wallace in it recently, actually.
Maybe the first thing I'd say to Idris Elba, I'd be like, "Thank you for taking your time with it." And my first question is, I know you're promoting.
Where's Wallace at?
My first question is, have we ever found where Wallace is? Good. He shit himself. So, which would be awesome. But thank you, Mr. Vent Noir, for that submission, and thank you all submissions for these Neos listener submitted news articles. And like I had stated before, if you ever have any articles that you'd like to post, just go to the Neos listener submitted news articles thread in the Gundam section of the Mecha Talk forum. And now going from an extreme high, we're going to go to an extreme low to Soul Bro and Hopers and Dreamers Corner with Chris.
What an excellent segue, sir. Terrible.
Must be.
Thank you guys for stepping into Soul Bros, Hopers and Dreamers Corner. And thank you guys for submitting to the corner, as you always have. We're going to run through about 2 of these today. And if you guys ever want to submit hopes and dreams, head on over to mechatalk.net, go to the Gundam forum, and find the post labeled the Hopers and Dreamers Corner. And go ahead and place your post in there too, and we'll read them on the show sometime in the near future. And the first one, I just had it. Here we go. Okay, here we are. The first one is really short. It's from Yokozuna Bulldozer. And Yokozuna Bulldozer, let me pronounce his name right. And he writes, a Super Robot Wars title with Doraemon. Well, with the cat beast thing, Doraemon, that mascot character, I guess.
I don't even know. I don't even understand the why of this to want to crush it.
Hey,
I'm at a loss.
You have Mind F. Chris. Congratulations.
Let's move on to something easier for me to comprehend.
Thank you, Yokozuna
Something I can Hulk
Bulldozer.
smash.
It was short and sweet, and I thank you for that. Next up is a submission from PQ Comics, and he writes, "Hi guys, this is my first posting here, so please be gentle.
Maybe the last."
Oh man, lube up. I have the craziest dream, and I must share it. I want Gundam to be real. You heard right. Anime Genai. I dream of a world with space colonies, mobile suits, new type space magic, reverse space Nazis, the holy shebang. And most importantly, I want to be a part of it. I want everyone to become a new type so we can truly understand each other and live peace among the stars. Again, please be gentle, Chris. Well, damn.
All right.
So you want, you know what, Chris? I'm gonna let you take it. Go ahead.
This is what you dream about?
Oh.
Keep dreaming.
Well, can I interject, Chris, or are you still going?
Please go ahead. That was it.
I just like to say, he said that he wanted to be part of it. Mm-hmm. There's always a place for, mother and child or something like that, or your teacher closing door as a nuclear bomb goes off. So I think he should be
or depending on your ethnicity, Arthur.
Yeah, or Arthur. Yeah, but you're Arthur. You can do it. But yeah, that's what I would say. Him, new type pilot. Yeah, not gonna happen. Cannon fodder. Yes.
For every one person that becomes a dope ass Gundam pilot and gets to be the titular character in the series,
there's gonna be 1,000 real rock guys.
There are a million or billions of people that get murked. I mean, I have a better chance of being caught up in the space colony drop than to ever get near a mobile suit or to be gassed unrelentlessly in a colony.
True.
Before even serving on the white base. So I don't know. I love watching.
Yeah,
I love.
If you're a civilian, yeah, you're screwed. But like Chris said, if you're in the military, for every dope ass Gundam pilot, there's thousands of real rock guys. So that's what you would be.
And so many more civilians getting killed. So if you want to roll that dice, that's cool. But I'm fine with being an observer. But I mean, yeah, you got adventure in your heart, and that's what matters. That's what matters.
Either that, or if you want to see all this, just keep watching your videos. Watch your DVDs of Gundam.
There you go, and dream big. But I'll squeeze this last one in here because it's kind of funny. Thank you, PQ Comics, by the way. I really appreciate your submission. And last but not least, another submission from Yokozuna Bulldozer. He writes, a 1x1 scale Big Zam is constructed in Odaiba. The control room could be a restaurant that serves Gundam-themed meals. Now, that's what I'm talking about. I would love that. I would go to the Big Zam, ride the elevator up its leg to the restaurant, dine in Dozozabi's chair, and then step off and enjoy the rest of my day visiting the one-to-one Gundam. And I think that's a pretty cool idea, fellas.
I'm actually down with that. I'll let that one exist.
Yeah,
I would go to the top of this and declare, once the Big Zam is mass produced,
the Federation will bow down to us. Yeah, I would say, knowing the way Sunrise is and Bandai, this is probably the closest thing in the Hopers and Dreamers segment that may actually happen. Could be their
pretty damn big though, if it's to scale, especially if it's to scale with the RX-78.
Yeah, because it's much bigger. Now to think about it, it towers over the RX-78. So
it's like 3 times the size. Yeah.
Stupidly huge.
Oh my god, I can think that's a construction nightmare.
Well, it'd be like it would look like the Space Needle. You know, almost kind of. So
I would imagine so.
Might be near like Eiffel Tower size.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
I would venture to say if they were going to do something big, they'd probably do like Psycho Gundam verse, where you can have like sandwiches with head case sandwiches, you know, instead of like head cheese sandwiches, you got to have head case sandwiches.
The number one qualification to being a Psycho Gundam pilot.
You can get the 4 platter, which is just a bunch of mess just piled up against each other. So
terrible. Ew. Yeah. But thank you, Yokozuna Bulldozer. I have a little hope and dream that can actually become a reality this weekend, by the way, and I'll squeeze this in there. Go see Pacific Rim. I don't care what you're doing this weekend. Go see a matinee. Go see it twice, but go see that movie. It's got to beat Grown Ups 2.
Why are you?
I'm pushing it, man. I'm doing my part. I want people to go see it.
Why you gotta push this?
Hey,
everybody's gonna see it,
me.
man.
I'm not even getting paid for this.
Everybody's gonna see it.
Hey.
Where I live, I've actually seen more posters like at the bus stops and stuff for Pacific Rim than like such gems as like Into Dumbness and stuff like that. So
I just haven't seen a movie speak to me in this fashion since Scott Pilgrim. And that movie did abysmally in the theater, so I'm still mentally scarred.
I hope Pacific Rim's better than Scott Pilgrim.
Hey, Scott Pilgrim's a good movie, but I see.
I don't want to hear anymore.
I see the love letter that this movie is to Mecha, and I just have a nightmare of it failing. So I'm doing my part. I'm going to see this weekend. Make sure you do it too. Do your part, and I'll turn it over to Chris.
Well, actually, to me.
But back to you.
Way to mess it up.
Hey, man.
But thank you, Soul Bro. And now, just as it was created, an episode ago, it is now time for the newest Gundam segment, the Old Timey News Hour with Chris.
All right, we have our first submission comes from Abada Gundam, who gives us this. Jason and Jaina. When the Empire died, they were born. A new hope for a new republic. The young twins of Han Solo and Princess Leia are now 14 and enrolled at Luke Skywalker's Jedi Academy on Yavin 4. Together with friends both old and new, the future heroes of an already legendary saga begin their training. Luke Skywalker has come to a grim conclusion. With the threat of a new generation of Dark Jedi being trained at the Shadow Academy, he knows the new republic will need all the fighters it can muster. At last, it is time for the young Jedi Knights to build their lightsabers. But there is more to mastering the ancient weapon than mere swordsmanship. Each student must learn about the mysterious bond between Jedi and lightsaber. For Jason and Jaina, success will mean growing stronger in the Force. For one other friend, failure will mean tragedy.
Is that it?
Oh, here's a bonus.
Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Since this is going to be part of our topics today.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a very good book. Very good, actually. Very good war comics, requiring no prior experience with anime or mecha or Gundam. Just a well-made, old-fashioned war comic full of thrills and spills and lucky breaks and narrow escapes and preening villains you'll love to hate and pig-headed heroes you may hate to love and expert drawings by a master craftsman and hard, sturdy violence.
What could that be? Something with all types of punctuation except the period.
Pretty much.
All right. Well, thanks, Chris, for the Old Timey News Hour, the news segment of Gundam. And I'm sure, are you going to be doing a thread, or how should they contact you if they want to? The listeners want you to recite one of their submissions.
There will be an old-timey thread.
No, the old-timey thread. All right.
So watch for that.
Perfect. All right. Well, unless you guys have anything else before we get going, go into our first segment, which is Gundam Origin Volume 2 of the manga. Anything?
Nope. I'm ready to go.
All right. Well, you're listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
Start talking and talk fast, you lousy bum.
We've been frantically trying to reach you, dude.
Where is my Gundam money, you bum?
I don't...
They did not receive the money, you nitwit! They did not receive the money! Her life was in your hands!
This is our concern, dude.
No, man, nothing is here.
Nothing is
No, man.
The Gundam plane has crashed into the mountain!
What do the Anime Addicts Anonymous hosts think of My Little Pony?
If you're a dude older than 12, you really should not be watching My Little Pony. And if you are, go eat some chicken wings.
Anime.
I'd rather watch the Smurfs. Smurfette was hot.
Addicts.
I'm pretty sure I set a few My Little Ponies on fire when I was a child.
Anonymous.
No, that's cool. I'm just saying that, like, My Little Ponies burn real nice because they're made of plastic.
Podcast. Visit us at AAApodcast.com, iTunes, Facebook, and live from Japan on Ustream.tv.
Greetings, I am Andrew Cook, the host of Pretentious Internet Theater. Each month, I bring you the finest in literature that internet fan fiction has to offer. Join us, won't you? At tinyurl.com/pitpodcast. Remember, there is much drama on the internet, but only the best makes Pretentious Internet Theater.
I don't give a Gundam who you are. This is America, Jack. Now you say one more word about Lisa here, and I'm gonna break my foot off in your royal ass.
Garma strikes.
Welcome back to Gundam at MAHQ, and for this segment we're going to be giving our thoughts on Volume 2 of Vertical's release of Gundam The Origin. So if you liked what you saw in Volume 1 with the fancy color pages and the extras and the hardcover, you get more of the same of that here. And we have Volume 2, which is called Garma, so therefore you have to have Amuro on the cover.
Makes sense.
Yes, creepy Amuro with his little toy, little beaten up little toy.
Oh.
Don't you love your son, Mom?
Exactly. So this volume collects basically the next 4 issues from Viz's original release and takes us through the entire Garma arc from the white base landing on Earth all the way up through Garma's death. So if you're familiar with Gundam, I'm not going to get into the whole specifics of how all of that works out, but definitely want to mention some of the notable changes. For one thing I like that they did do is they totally fixed the screwy geography
Oh, yes.
of the White Base's path from both the TV show and the movies.
Shout us to New York.
Because it makes no damn sense in the TV show or even in the movie. Like, what the hell is going on? Where did the White Base come down in? Why are they going these weird routes to try to get to Jaburo by going the entire way around the world?
Exactly.
Which never made any sense.
Because in the show and the movie, it looks like they're in Seattle, but it's New York or New York, whatever they named it. And yeah, it's all over the place. It's very confusing.
Yeah. So in this adaptation, they're in California. They're just in California. That's where they ended up. And they're going to travel down to Jaburo that way. So thank goodness for someone looking at a freaking world map.
Yeah, basically, it's just taking the route of the 5 freeway, it looked like.
Yeah. So that's a notable change. We see some more with Char and Garma and them hanging out and talking about stuff. There's some very nice fan service in color of Char in the shower.
Oh no,
for all the men and ladies alike.
Oh man, got a little bit of fan weighing myself.
And interestingly, when we have the whole introduction of Iselina, we get some more background on her dad, because in this edition of the story, Iselina's dad is the secret, or rather not so secret, head of the local rebel groups who are resisting Zeon rule.
Mm-hmm.
So that definitely gives some more definition to his character, where in the TV show, he's just this one-note guy who's like, I don't like you dating that Zeon guy. Blah, I'm going to slap you around. Blah.
I can't remember in the show, because he's the mayor in LA in the manga. Do they even say what he is in that, or is he just some rich guy
he's the mayor of insert city.
Whatever city that, okay, yeah.
Yes, but there was no guerrilla component.
Yeah, none at all. He was just pissed off.
Yeah, so we have some elements from the TV show that they include in this story, such as the refugees taking Frau hostage and demanding to be let off, which then gets turned into a battle plan, and the whole thing of the young mother and her child trying to find the town that actually was destroyed, but they get helped by the nice Zeon pilots.
Yeah, that was funny, because they're like, oh yeah, she's like, I'm looking for, I think it was like St. Angelo, and they're like, oh, don't know. And then like at the last minute as they're walking away, it's like, yeah, it's over that hill. Big crater.
Yeah, that giant lake, that is it. That's the town.
Oh my gosh.
So that was a good bit. Interestingly, they move way forward. Amuro's meeting with his mother. They have her down in what, like Baja California or somewhere?
Mm-hmm. Tijuana. Yeah.
Tijuana.
Yeah. Somewhere around there. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So they moved that forward to way before both encountering Ramba Ral and the death of Garma. So that's an interesting change.
Mm-hmm.
And logistically, which makes much more sense, Amuro goes in a Jeep rather than the core fighter.
Thank you.
Yeah, little easier to be stealthy in a Jeep.
It's far more subtle. Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And we have the exact same thing, goes to the house and finds all of the, scummy Federation soldiers, and gets beaten up by those guys who are harassing the cart lady, and then goes over to the hospital, shoots the guy. My son's not like that, blah, 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 blah.
Chocolate is offered to a young child.
Yes, man, the Hershey's soldier, man.
Yes,
Sergeant Hershey.
all of that stuff. Unlike the TV show, where Amuro goes off on a temper tantrum and destroys a backwater Zeon base for nothing, instead we have Sayla and Kai in an armored vehicle running around grabbing Amuro and shooting up stuff.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Which is an interesting change, because at this point in the story, it gives Sayla something more to do.
It's a far better set piece too, because I think in the show they had them like combine the Gundam, or like they tried to drop the Gundam down so that he could put the core fighter in it, and just this long, drawn out reason to have a midair docking
sequence. Yeah,
and it's like, yo, come on.
Which thankfully was cut in the movie, but still, it's like he's flying around in the core fighter. So they limited the core fighter action to just Ryu the way it was in the original story, where he's flying around and he gets shot up and has to return to base. Mm-hmm. So we've got that. And we have their meeting with Matilda, which was combined with Char's first attempt to kill Garma from the TV show. So that's an interesting change as well. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, I think in the TV show, which has been a while, I think their first meeting with her was when Char first tried to kill Garma by disconnecting the radio. So that would not be a change.
Yeah.
But I'm interested in the fact that they kept his first assassination attempt, which is just so blatantly obvious. Oh, let me unplug this little cable here, and nobody's going to notice.
How did that happen?
Because the thing is,
shoddy contractors.
The thing about that is, when you have that in the TV show and in the origin, it kind of, for the viewer or the reader, it gives Char's hand away kind of early.
Yeah.
Because when you watch it in the movie, which is the way I saw MSG the first time, it comes as a surprise when Char betrays Garma.
Yeah, you're right.
So
it does.
That's why I prefer that little part not being there, because then you know in advance that he's trying to smoke Garma.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now, well, this is an interesting change because it shows some more involvement of the Federation forces, is that the white base specifically receives orders to go to LA and help the local guerrillas led by Mayor Eschonbach take down Garma.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because it gives some more structure to what the white base is doing, since in the TV show and the movies, you sort of get the impression they're mostly just wandering on their own, doing whatever they want while they're trying to get to Jaburo.
Right.
With very little involvement from the Federation.
Yeah, they're more of a lone wolf in the TV show, but apparently they do have backing in the background in the manga. And even Matilda lets them know that you're not alone. We're trying to help. We are going to send you help, at least on occasion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So at this point, then we have the white base joining in the attack. Same stuff as before. Hiding in the dome. Oh, the Gundam's running away. Blah blah blah. Shoot the Gawk from behind, and Garma goes exploding.
Oh my God! Does he ever?
The difference is, right after that, the Zeon come to arrest Mayor Eschonbach, and he kind of stupidly grabs a gun, or tries to grab a gun, and they just shoot him down and kill him.
Yeah. He wasn't going to be taken alive. That man was too stubborn.
Yeah. And then after the story, we get a little bonus section, which has a 2-page interview with the artist of Clamp. And after that, there's a color illustration of their interpretation of Amuro, which I swear to God is just Suzaku in a Federation normal suit and uniform jacket holding Haro.
That seems to be the consensus on the internet.
He did it. He did it.
He did it.
Did it.
Amuro Suzaku did it.
Amuro did it.
Amuro did it. Well, he did kind of do it with Lala.
Yes.
There you go.
So, Sobra, what were your thoughts on Volume 2?
This is one of my favorite story arcs of Mobile Suit Gundam in general. So I really was in love with this book. It is a much smaller book than the first novel. It's the first installation, but that's quite all right because there's still a whole lot of content here.
Not that much smaller.
It's not. I'd say it's just a fraction smaller, but it's still a healthy book, man. And there's a lot of great moments in this book as well. Especially, I always like the and I love the fact that they actually put the moment of Amuro visiting his mother in this set of stories, because it's such a crucial moment in his character development. When he goes back to his mom's house and he runs into all those soldiers there, it's a much more risque scene than it was in the TV show. In the TV show, it's just some dudes in his house dancing to some vinyl. And in this,
here you got like camp followers like, "Hey, I make you a man."
Yeah, and there's they've got whores, and one guy is in the midst of about to getting some. He's about to get some for the most part until Amuro walks in and cock blocks him. So if anything,
pretty much.
But yeah, it's a much more darker scene. He goes in the house, he grabs his doll, and he runs out. And I don't recall in the TV show if he finds out if his childhood friend actually died.
He did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay, he did. I was trying to remember if that was part of the conversation, but it really struck out to me. It stood out to me in the book as I was reading it. One of the coolest things I loved about this volume is that there are so many landmarks, real landmarks in real life that are in this book. Garma lives at the Chateau Marmont, which is that hotel in L.A.
Yeah, I wonder when he was there if Lindsay Lohan was down the hall, because she's always down there too.
You mean Space Lindsay Lohan?
Lindsay Lohan.
He's dating her. Isolina.
Wait, maybe Space Lindsay Lohan is Isolina.
There you go. And the pieces come together. You also get a few moments at Los Angeles City Hall. There's a big battle at the Hoover Dam. And you have the LA Convention Center, where it's the final resting place of Garma Zabi. Neo, how did it feel when you went to Anime Expo that you were standing on hallowed ground?
Well, I guess Hollow Ground for some people would be across the street at Staples Center, but
There
yeah.
you go. There you go. It would have made more sense if the white base hid in Staples Center because it was. Isn't that a dome like the dome they hit the white base in?
It's just a round stadium. Yeah, like a kind of not completely round, but kind of a weird elliptical. Not like a football, but a little bit more rounder than that. But yeah. I mean, Staples has been around for a while, so it might have been it, but everything was blown up. So
that's true. I guess the landscape got rearranged many times by the time we got.
They didn't visit my house though. I wanted a battle going by Huntington Beach.
Oh, damn it!
Shark could have caught some waves and then try to shoot Garma in the face. So
maybe he could have thrown a Sharknado at Garma.
Sharknado. Man, like oh my gosh, like Mega Shark. Mega Shark's children, they're
Sharknadoes. But yeah, it made me laugh when I heard that the resistance was coming out of the LBC as well. That shit.
Well, that would make sense because anybody that knows Long Beach knows there's a lot of pride with Long Beach.
Hell yeah, dude! I can only imagine that the resistance movement is led by the kin of Eazy-E and Dr. Dre. Oh my God,
it's interesting. But it actually, I got to say though, not to
go ahead.
But I'm just saying that whole part where you see the resistance fighters, that you do see that there's something like that going on. I mean, it's something we don't see in the movie or the television show that Zeon took over the California base and all that. And, it would make sense that there would be leftover Federation soldiers, maybe people that were just, like you would in any war, saying, screw this, we don't want these guys here. And it was nice to see that, oh, okay, there is insurgency going on. So that gave it also that little bit, a little bit more real world feel there. So.
Absolutely. It made it very grounded, as Chris mentioned earlier, too, with the fact that it's, you actually can look on a map and see where actually all this turbulence and fighting is taking place. And that was one thing I really loved about the book. This story makes you feel a lot more. For me, I always like the character of Garma Zabi, but I know I can't even say the man's name tonight. But I always love Garma's character in the TV show, even though he was a bit of a dandy, and he's still a dandy in this book, but he's a bit more relatable.
Stop, Char! Don't make the men. They're making me blush.
The men are watching. But
they were gonna I thought they were gonna go and make out, and I'm sure there's plenty of yaoi that's got them doing it.
Oh no! But this book really makes him a more well-rounded character, and I love his depiction in the origin. I thought it was outstanding. There were a lot of comedic moments, a lot more than I remembered from reading the first time, especially with Bright yelling at people, and of course the legendary scene of Bright slapping the shit out of Amuro is also in this volume. So that's always been a treat to read and relive.
That's when my dad hit me.
This is the volume that the Bright slap is born. So this is another pinnacle moment in Gundam that is a great reason to buy this book. Outside of that, there's one other scene I wanted to bring up, and now it just escapes me. I'm sure we'll bring it up in discussion, but I'll pass it back to you, Chris.
All right, so Neo, your thoughts on Volume 2?
Well, I mean, like I stated earlier in the show, in the opening segment, it's familiar, but yet I haven't read it in such a long time, and this new presentation that Vertical has done is made it even that much more enjoyable to read. So definitely a lot of the things that you guys brought out. I do like some of the rearranging of some of the events there. The thing with Amuro and his mom, it always bugged me in the movie and it always bugged me in the television show. Still bugs me here. I understand why it is, but I just get so aggravated because she's such a selfish bitch.
Well, I wanted to bring that up to you because I remember when we discussed this that you really didn't like how her character was. I remember in the novel she's a much more.
Yeah, but the novels that's a whole different thing.
I'm just saying, I'm comparing the two, but I always felt that her reaction was justified. I thought that seeing her son shoot someone in cold blood, well, not cold blood, but in self-defense in front of her is a shocking thing.
But still, I mean, what mother would say to her son, "How dare you shoot that man who would have killed you and not defend yourself. That reaction
did she really say that
irrational.
though? Did she really
pretty
say
much?
That,
She's basically like, I didn't raise you to be that way. How could you shoot him? He's probably got a family.
He's got a family too.
What mother would ever say to her son, like, how could you defend yourself against someone who would have killed you?
Yeah.
Well, and that's not even the point that bothers me about her. It's just all the flashback moments of, it's like, oh, I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave this great area here. And
well, she should have fought to keep her son there. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm mad at her for.
I'm just saying, her depiction, no matter what.
Well, she wanted to have it both ways in all versions. It's like, I don't want to leave Amuro, but I don't want to go to space. So clearly, me living on Earth is more important than raising my son. So clearly, her priorities are pretty skewed, and she's not a good parent.
And the fact that
failing,
and the fact that she brings up the fact that. She's like, oh, it's because he was raised by his father. Well, you could have prevented that. I mean, okay. How many times do spouses go to cities or places that their other spouse has to go for business or whatever, that they don't want to be there, but they do it for the sake of their children? And that's the thing that bothers me about the whole situation is it's just like Chris said, she's trying to have it both ways. Like, oh, what I want is so important, but yet, I want him here, but then I'm going to bitch when he turns out the way he does, even, it's everybody else's fault, but I'm not going to look at myself saying, hey, I could have prevented this by, doing something that maybe I didn't want to do for the sake of my child.
Not even that, but she clearly has no idea of all of the things that he's been through since the start of the series. So where the hell does she get off judging him? And then the whole thing of, oh, I didn't raise you to be this way. It's like, bullshit. You didn't raise him at all. You were not part of his life. You basically abandoned him.
It's not like she disowned him though. And at the end, there's
practically
there's a little bit of resolution at the end of the book though. At the end, a
little bit of resolution at the end, but just the way she's like, oh, you're no son of mine. Blah, blah, blah. It's like, how would you know? You weren't part of his life. For how many years? He's a little kid in those flashbacks. So where the hell do you get off, judging him or what he's done?
I agree with you guys that she should have put her foot down when it came to him going out into space with his father, and the fact that she should have been there to mother her child. But I don't know. I to see your son that you haven't seen in years, kill someone in front of you, although for righteous reasons, and I wholly agree as to why.
Just wounded him. But the thing is once again, you're not even getting the what we're trying to say here. It's she's sitting there and she's sitting there going, oh, I didn't raise you to be this way. No, you didn't raise him.
Period. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have nothing to say. Yeah. And that's the issue that I've always had with that scene. But I will go to other scenes because that has always been just a real big thing. And it makes sense why Armor is screwed up the rest of the freaking Universal Century, and he has issues with women right there. It's exactly why. Starts with his mother, but of course, just done the same way, and it still gives you the goosebumps. Even reading it as just as when you watched it when frickin' Char sets up Garma and just gives him just that thing of to blame this on your unfortunate birth and stuff, and it's just like Garma's like, what, huh? It's like and it's just so awesome because he just plays it so perfectly. Of course, it is tipped a little bit too much because of the prior actions that we saw, but man, it's just so great to see, especially when you can see that Garma is just like such a fanboy of Char that he's just going to do anything, and the fact that at that moment when he tells him that, and Garma's like, what? And Garma finally gets it. It's like, yeah, it's not all about, dating the hot mayor's wife or the hot daughter of the mayor and, getting the Xeon cross and all this stuff. And, and I like the fact that you do get more of a fleshing out of Isolina's father. And of course, like Chris said, the whole voyage of the White Base, it's, you can see that they actually have a goal that they need to go to. They don't initially know it, but it's always there to go to Jabro, but as they're going that route, it makes a lot more sense. And then plus they're given the orders to help the rebels that are attacking LA and things like that. And of course, we get to see a lot more strategy when it comes to using the Gundam. And I mean, you get a glimpse of it in the movie and the television series, but using the Gundam to set up Garma and all the other the forces there, and even earlier in the book when they kind of use the Gundam more as a decoy almost, and they're allowing the gun cannons and the gun tanks to take it. And then of course you see poor Lieutenant Kim getting blown up in his old gun tank.
Oh yes.
And but once again, that gives you the realism, because not only do you have multiple gun cannons and multiple gun tanks, but the fact that you're going to lose some is makes it pretty nice. But
even the white base has red shirts.
yeah, and the whole thing with what is it? What the hell is that guy? Lieutenant Reed. He's all about doing stuff. He wants it all done this way, and then all of a sudden it's like it gets tough or something like that. He's like, "Oh, it's all on you, Bright." Like, it really just shows you kind of the dysfunction and some of the jealousy that you see when it comes to Bright as being the commander and stuff. So
yeah, he wasn't a scumbag.
I don't know about you guys, but well, he was a scumbag in the TV show as well.
Not to the level he was in the book, though.
But he was always yelling at Bright, like, "I'm gonna get you court-martialed."
Oh yeah.
All of his dialogue, I read it as whiny Scott McNeil as he did in the TV show.
Yeah.
That's the voice I heard in my head, is Scott McNeil being a whiny guy.
Nice.
Yeah, you're definitely and that's definitely a great way of packaging it there. But like I said, it was definitely nice to come back to this. Hadn't read it that long, so there was a lot of it was familiar, but then you have those surprises, and can't wait to the next volume. And I know that we're getting close to getting close to the point where Viz had stopped, so that'll be definitely nice. And
that'll be in September, and then by December, by Christmas time, we'll actually be in new material in America.
Hell yes.
For the first time in over a decade.
And I will say, I'm not going to go too much into it, but I did speak to our friend at Anime Expo, and I know Chris had mentioned it earlier about the title of this this volume was Garma, but it had Armro on it, and I know that's been a point of contention. I'm not going to go into details with this, but I'm just going to say that this is one of those things that's out of Vertical's hands. So, I guess from what I'm hearing, they're trying to work through it, and it sounds like there might be some of a compromise. But when it comes to whatever, the way the covers are, a lot of that's being dictated from Japan. So it's, from what I've heard, that's one of the few things that Japan is really kind of has held steadfast on. But I guess there's some things that are possibly happening that may alleviate some of those issues, or some of those issues in further volumes. So I know
it's one of those cases of just LOL Japan.
But I will say, though, speaking to, I don't know if you guys have anything else to say about the book or anything.
Just some quick comments, since I haven't had my turn yet, but I definitely enjoyed this incarnation of the Garma arc as I was reading it originally, and coming back to it again, the way that they, as we mentioned, fleshed out Eschonbach, the way they move forward Amuro's visit with his mother and changed the logistics around that, the way they changed the White Base's path and had it be more sensical and have the Federation giving them orders. And maybe it's just me, but I thought that were a lot more color pages in this volume than in the last one.
It did seem like there was. I don't know. I didn't really check.
A lot more.
But
It seemed to me there were a lot more key sequences in color.
Yeah, that might be true. Yeah.
And, just the fantastic work that they've done with these color pages makes me wish just the whole damn thing was in color.
Yeah,
it all looks so good.
Yeah, y'all want to put Yaz to work.
But you know what, though? At least then, by not being in color the whole time, it really gives the dramatic emphasis to the points that he chooses to make in color, which is usually something pretty important.
Yeah.
So since they're not there all the time, you sort of appreciate them more when they're there because they're there for a reason.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
true.
So I'm definitely intrigued by the direction we'll be getting to by the end of the year. So I obviously know what's coming up with Volume 3, and I'm definitely looking forward to Volume 4 once that hits.
Oh, yeah. And Volume 3, I take it as the Rumble Raw volume.
Yes.
Yes. Now we're getting into the meat of the stuff, man. I can't wait, man. And we're going to see some deaths. Oh, no.
Play with me, boy.
You play with me, boy. Some salty kids in the desert.
You excite me, boy.
The Mexico chapter.
Well, I can't wait till afterwards because I always wanted to see what happened to Amon after that. So it's like,
oh yeah,
we never really got to see that because that's where they stopped. So
yeah, it was at the tail end of the Rumble Raw chapter where they had to stop. I can't remember where exactly they ended.
He died, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah, it probably ended.
I think it ended on him dying.
Raiding the white
I think
base.
that's what it did.
Yeah, that's the last chapter where they raided the white base and he died right there at the secondary bridge. But man, we got a lot to look forward to. Any thoughts about the artwork? I mean, we brought up the fact that it was in color, but I mean that discussion from Clamp at the end of the book was pretty insightful for the fact that I didn't know that Yaz did a lot of his artwork with brushes. And it really does show when you go and you look through all the work he does in the book, especially the central panels for like a lot of the action shots, and when he transitions from one moment to the next, it's so gorgeously drawn. I love the way he lays out his panels. If you've been reading comics a long time, you can tell this man has been in the game for a long time with the way he just structures his pages. But I love his work, man. I really do. Especially the little covers at the very end that it shows of the different chapters. That because I remember one of the covers that they show at the back of the book was the cover of one of the volumes or several of the volumes of the Viz manga, including the main picture of Garma crashing the Gal. That one's actually this one right here should have been the cover of the book, but sadly it wasn't. So I guess we'll have to wait for the second edition.
Of what?
If they run through and print this book up again and they decide to change the cover.
You know they're not going to do that.
Oh, well, damn it.
And you know Japan's not going to be down for that. Have you been paying attention?
Hey, man, you never know. You never know. If this book is selling well and they want to run through it again, man, I'll be there to buy it again. So
I don't think there's going to be enough.
This
is they're getting what they're going to get. It's successful now, and that's the peak of what it's going to be. You're not going to be getting second runs on this stuff, I don't believe.
Well, shit, man. I'll just sit my ass back down.
You're asking for a really tall order. Wait for them to get through the first run of everything, and then we'll see about second runs.
There you go.
Yeah, because that was kind of some of the stuff I was just going to generally comment on from what, unless you're still got some stuff, Chris.
No, just keep in mind this is Vertical, not Viz,
very true.
or Tokyo Pop in their heyday.
Yeah, and that was kind of the thing that Ed had said is they are going to go through the run of this. And that's all Vertical is focusing on right now. And like Chris had just stated, if you're interested in this and you want to get it, you get it now. And he said that he actually received an email from Yaz talking about how excited he was about the response of the Origin in the U.S. and North America and stuff, and he thought that was pretty cool because Ed was saying that usually when things like this are happening, they're through many layers of people, but to actually get it from the man himself and to see that he was generally excited means that yes, I mean there is some good stuff in there's some appreciation going on, but second runs, I think you might want to post that to Hopers and Dreamers.
There you go. That'll be my next submission.
Yeah. So, but he said it's been doing really well, but it doesn't mean that people can drop the ball. So, once again, if you're interested in this or you're still pre-ordering it, definitely make sure that you keep abreast of those pre-orders because they are.
Get those pre-orders in. They're cheap. I'm pre-ordering on Amazon all the way up through Volume 5.
Yeah, and they're coming quickly. I mean, that's the thing is like, they have. He said that they have a schedule, and they're hell or high water. They're gonna try to keep the schedule. So, every 3 months these things are going to be coming out. So, you have no excuse. And like Chris said, much cheaper than what the cover price is. I mean, for what you're getting, and I wouldn't even have a problem spending the cover price, which I think is like $30 or $35. I mean, for what you get for it, it's still an amazing thing. So, yeah. And from what I hear, they are out of 1 and 2. There is no more back stock.
What? They are. They tweeted, which whenever I spot anything from their Twitter that's Gundam related, I retweet it. So they are out of volumes 1 and 2. So whatever's out there is what's out there.
Yeah.
And when they've gotten returns from retailers, they've kept that small amount in stock to take to them with conventions. So this stuff is really getting scarce. So don't wait, as we've said before.
And I will say, seeing them on Saturday at Anime Expo, talking with him at the booth, because he was at the Vertical booth, Gundam the Origin's not their only thing that they sell. Oh. And that's also doing really well. So if there's any of those titles, because he showed me all the boxes they had brought, and mind you, this is a 4-day expo, and we're in the 3rd day, and they pretty much were. He brought enough of different various titles that they thought would be good, for past performances for a 4-day week, and they were down to like what was on the table, which was actually pretty scarce. That was all they had left going into the rest of that Saturday, because this was like maybe about 4:00 in the afternoon and Sunday. So, they not only have Gundam the Origin, but they have a whole bunch of other titles. So if you really like their stuff when it gets released, it looks like you need to get it, because they seem to be doing a pretty good job of getting rid of their stock and having pretty good success with the titles that they have. So, but back to you, Chris.
All right, so I think it's safe to say that we enjoyed this volume, and if you are on the sidelines, again, we're not being paid by Vertical to push this, but we just want to get the point across that, put your wallet where your mouth is, because if you want this, it's a limited run, and buy it while it matters, and make sure you get your copy, because, God forbid you get second thoughts later, and then when you want to get this stuff, it's really expensive on eBay or somewhere else.
Oh, yeah.
So get it now while it's cheap, because them pre-orders, on Amazon, they're averaging about $17 to $20 from what I've seen.
I think volume 2, I actually
got it for like $18.
I got it for a little bit less.
I did too.
Yeah, whatever I got it at was, I think it was higher than what initially volume 1 was, and then of course, Amazon always gives you that little statement showing, you bought it you pre-ordered at this, but because of whatever, it got you got it at this price. So I got it for about $2 off of what I actually pre-ordered it on. So
get it now, and hey, it looks nice on your shelf, especially now that I've got volumes 1 and 2 sitting next to each other, and volume 1 isn't alone by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's a nice shelf piece. So make sure you get it and keep supporting it, because Ed has been more optimistic recently on Twitter about possibilities of things they might pick up in the future if Gundam keeps up its numbers through the halfway point of the series.
Well, when I was talking to him, he pretty much said the same thing. He said right now, he didn't give me a title or anything, but he said Vertical is looking for a Gundam manga title that's in the same vein of the Origin, kind of not the actual story or anything, but it's a pretty, has a nice amount of chapters, has got a pretty strong story, pretty good following, something that hasn't been there. So
someone will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe I did see him mention on either Twitter or Tumblr that one possibility that they might look at would be the Unicorn manga.
Oh, not bad.
Yeah, he said something about that. Yeah, and actually the other one, well, he did mention one to me. the Gundam Wing one. The
the Glory of the Losers.
Losers, yeah.
Which is in essence the origin of Gundam Wing, because it's a refined story with all of these new elements from Endless Waltz integrated into the main section. I've been reading it. It's good stuff. So, and Gundam Wing still has a popularity. So if anything, I would probably put my money on Gundam Wing over Unicorn if Origin holds out and still sells well, and they do it.
So I shouldn't get my hopes up for Char's deleted affair then.
No, you should not. Damn, you should not. So with that, we're going to wrap up this segment and be right back. You're listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
Hey, this is Stephanie Shea, and you're listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
I can't believe Game & More forgave Gears of War 3 a 9.4. Ugh, those guys have rocks in their head. It clearly deserves at least a 9.6.
Bro, why do you even care? Modern Warfare 3 is a far superior game in every way.
You guys are still playing with your consoles? You need to fully immerse yourself in true PC gaming.
Are you sick of nerd ragers making you feel like your games don't matter? Or do you feel like professional game magazines have sold out and only cover major releases? Sure you are, so join us here at secondopiniongames.com and let us make your video game conversations fun again. Our main podcast focuses on all gaming news, big and small. And don't forget our other podcasts where we talk about video game collecting, fighting games, the best games you never played, and other just mindless and mindful ramblings that entail what our main focus is. Let us be your first stop in Second Opinion. So stop by secondopiniongames.com. You can also find us on iTunes and Stitcher Radio.
In a world where vivid flashbacks can strike without warning. In a world where a submissive adolescent must pilot a giant humanoid robot to save humanity. In the same world where a two-legged quadruped can run leisurely at the speed of sound with the aid of jewelry. Only one podcast can discuss this with their sanity intact. And this is Not That Podcast. www.SSAApodcast.com. The Ass Backwards Anime Podcast. Oh wait, I was supposed to use that voice in the beginning. Let's go again.
In a world where podcasting is king, you are listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
Welcome back to Gundam. We're going to jump into our second topic, which is a sort of news roundup of various bits of Gundam news that have been coming out in the last few weeks, starting with, most importantly, the new TV series that we've all been anticipating, Gundam Boyfriend.
Woohoo! Yes, man. I can't wait to see the dating.
Yes, the dating sim, which promises to be unparalleled in the world of dating sims.
Awesome, man. We finally get to see all the shipping we've ever wanted to see.
And Setsuna can actually be with the Gundam in all the ways that he wants to be.
Oh my god, I'm about to cry.
Which one do you think he would date? If it wasn't XE or 00, you think what do you think he would?
Gundam, obviously.
The O. The O.
Yeah, that's true. That's
where it all started.
Yeah, it's his first love.
Yeah, it's first love.
Yeah.
So, anyway, no, it is Gundam Build Fighters, which is a first for Gundam TV series in that it's not even a Gundam TV series the way you think. It's basically a TV version of Gunpla Builders. So there's no conflict of Earth versus space, no teenager thrust into war in a prototype Gundam, none of that stuff. All gone.
Yeah.
We have kids who scan Gunpla into a video game and then fight inside the video game, which is exactly Gunpla Builders.
Well, what I found out while we were doing the panels and stuff is the reason why they're able to do it. They created a new type of material or something
Plasky
called
particles.
Yeah, Plasky particles.
Wow.
That's how they're able to, scan those things and then battle with them. Yeah, Plasky. Not like they said it, like they were saying, not Minoski, Plasky.
Yes, folks, that is a real deal.
It is the real deal, yeah.
So this series basically has a couple of teenagers, using their Gunpla to fight, and the star is a student named Sei Iori, who uses as his presumably first of many mecha, and as the star mecha of the show, the Build Strike Gundam, which is a customized version of the Strike Gundam with a brand new striker pack.
Yep.
And so far, we've seen a bunch of other crazy things, like a heavily customized Red Zaku.
Yep.
We've seen a heavily customized Wing Gundam.
Yep.
And we've even seen a customized Gundam X of all things.
That's crazy, right?
And a skating gold sumo. Because I remember it looked like that one was skating in the trailer.
Well, the sumo can hover, so it was probably just hovering above the ground.
Yeah, it looked like, yeah. But it looked a lot more maneuverable than what it was in.
Maybe it's just a better pilot than Harry.
Maybe. There's also a bear guy.
A bear guy. So in essence,
and a Gion too, man. Holy shit!
Pretty much everything from the original series up through Destiny is represented, including, as a side thing, Gunpla Builders. So we have in this trailer they showed literally something from everything. You saw a bunch of grunts, like, for example, F91 Denon Zons in Einrad tires from Victory.
Yes, I was going to say.
We saw the Shoku from Victory Gundam in the spotlight. We saw the Lumber Gundam from G Gundam fighting. We saw, I mentioned the Gion. We saw the Gaz L and R from Double Zeta. We saw the Masala from Zeta. We saw, a stock Freedom.
Yeah.
I don't even. There's so many things.
There's a lot going on.
In just this trailer.
In that minute 48 long trailer, you see so many suits. It's the greatest Gunpla commercial ever.
Pretty much. And the thing about Bandai Strategy that's brilliant is, in going along with this series, what they're doing is producing HG kits of a bunch of stuff that has not had kits up to now. So it's a way to advertise all these old suits, and you bring in people because they're making kits to fill out the lines of stuff that they have not completed, like, say, from Wing Gundam, Gundam Wing, or Gundam X, and presumably a good amount of re-releases of pre-existing old kits that are being thrown into this show. So it's a great opportunity to reel in the diehard Gunpla fans who want to get these kits that have not existed yet. Plus, you introduce these old kits to a whole new generation of fans, and then get them to watch the old shows that these things came from. So it's basically a win-win situation, I think, for Bandai.
And I think from what I found out too, when they start releasing these old kits, they're also going to be doing a lot of the customization packs that you can put it on. Because I mean, pretty much. I'd have to say pretty much all the suits that you see in the trailer, they're recognizable, but they're all customized in some way. So it's really
not all of them. Only a few of them. We saw the Zaku. We saw the Build Strike. There's 2 custom Wing Gundams and the Gundam X. Everything else so far from what I saw was just the original stock versions.
I probably missed you saying this, but did you mention that the Blue Destiny's in the trailer too?
Yes, the Blue Destiny is also in the trailer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah, some pretty obscure stuff getting in there.
Yeah, I didn't. The only thing I didn't really see anything from is G Gundam, but I'm hoping since it's
Lumber Gundam was in there.
Lumber Gundam.
I missed that totally. Get out. That's awesome.
You said Lumber Gundam fighting the dinosaur mecha from Turn A, the E-Gale.
Oh, this is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, Corins.
This
is the stuff that fan fiction is made of.
Oh, it's awesome.
Pretty much.
Man, so do you guys think this series stands the chance of being the first meta series in Gundam, basically? I mean,
first meta TV series, because I mean we've already had this happen with Gunpla Builders, but that was just a couple of short OVAs, whereas this will be, at least 26 episodes presumably.
Mm-hmm. I'm wondering if a lot of the previous voice actors for different characters throughout the history of Gundam will show up as bit roles in this. I mean, Ikeda, I hope he shows up as somebody in this. One episode.
I would imagine
have everyone come back.
Yeah, I would imagine you're going to have familiar voices. You
could have him be like the president of Bandai or something.
Yeah. Oh my God!
And have him look like him.
Yes, have him look like Char and dress like Char.
Yeah.
And, I just want to see some sort of like crazy fanatic character, like along the lines of Boris Schauer, who rides around on a horse.
Oh God. That'd be hilarious.
And it's just way too serious.
Yeah.
So that would be fun to have. I'm not going into this series expecting a super deep story. I'm not expecting, loads of character development. I am going to this expecting loads and loads of crazy battles and Gundam fan service and spotlights of old mecha. I mean, who would have ever thought that the day would come you'd see the Gundam X in action again in a TV show?
Yeah, especially in HD.
or like you said, Korin's freaking dinosaur mecha. I mean, where would you ever see something like that?
Or obscure grunts from F91 and Victory.
Yeah.
Yeah, and plus, there's a good chance we'll get to see a lot of suits that never even were animated, like the what is that line called again? The
MSVs.
MSVs. Yeah, they might get a chance to see
hey, if it works for Unicorn.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they squeezed so many of those into Unicorn. It's like there's no reason why they won't squeeze a few into this show, and probably the more popular ones.
We even saw some ships because when the build strike takes off into battle, it flies out of a Pegasus class.
Oh, it is okay.
I couldn't tell which one, but it was definitely a Pegasus class
ship. Was it like the Gray Phantom or whatever? Was it the newer?
It was a newer one. It was not the old school white base. It was sort of like in between the Gray Phantom and the Albion, so it might have been the Thoroughbred. Mm-hmm. Not sure. But it's definitely a Pegasus type ship.
Yeah, because that was the other thing I saw too. Is all of the support. They're not as prevalent in the trailer, but you do see some different support vehicles and ships and stuff like that.
Which there was a good amount of as well in Gunpla Builders. We saw the white base and I think was it the Argama somewhere. Yeah. So there were a lot of well-known Gundam ships in Gunpla Builders. So I expect that we'll be seeing these well-known ships appearing in Build Fighters as well.
I mean, what I'm expecting from this is fun, and because it's gonna be just bonkers to see like a Zansari suit launching from like the Archangel or something like that. I mean, just like crazy stuff like that, and or the the Zeta coming out of what is it that what was that one in Victory that Uso's father was flying in, that big ship?
John Dark.
Something like that. Or the Turn A coming out of anything. So
you know what I want to see, because this deserves more screen time. The Zeon's Ghetto Dendrobium.
Oh yeah,
I want to see that again.
I do want to see that.
or the Neo Zeal even. I would love to see that. That would be that'd be kind of cool to see that get to find someone using that. I mean that's gonna be broken tier.
And hell, if they're throwing in the Blue Destiny from a freaking video game, why not throw in some other stuff like from 0081, the RX-78 4 and 5?
Yeah, definitely.
Not 0081. From that PS2 game.
Yeah, I know.
But also from 0081, the RX-78 7.
Yep.
Or even some of the grunts you used before that, like the RX-81. Or hell, if you're doing Blue Destiny, you got to throw in the Ifrit somewhere in there.
Yep.
That's true.
Yeah.
I would love to see the RX-78 version 3, the one from the novel. I would love to see that. I always wanted to see that in animation or even see a model of that. I don't think I've ever seen the model of that suit. But that would be something I would be interested in seeing. Or at least the RX-78 from Gundam The Origin would be cool to see in the series if they have that.
I do know that the general was happy with the trailer because the Strike Noir was in it was in there too, wasn't it, Chris?
No, it was not.
I thought it was.
He asked if I think Strike Noir will show up, and I told him don't count on it.
Maybe.
And if it does, it would probably just be the Build Strike putting on the Noir pack, which would not be the same thing.
Either that or some evil doppelganger of the main character will show up, and then he'll be using the Strike Noir, and they'll have a mirror match. It'll be great.
Yeah.
So
you can just see with something like this where it's like a game, you can see that there's going to be. It's going to make it easy for them to go to different suits. Like it's not going to be one of the. I don't see the situation of like the main character staying with the Build Strike for long. He might go to something else just as he goes through the tournament or whatever he's doing.
Here's my prediction. Mm-hmm. So ever since Seed, Bandai has had this thing. Or sometimes has had this thing where instead of doing 2 openings and endings for show, now they do 4 each.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing roughly every 13 episodes when we get new opening and endings, at each of those points, say we'll get a new Gundam.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm predicting for him at least 4 Gundams if this is a year-long show.
Forgive me if I missed this. Was there any mechs from 00 in the trailer?
No. If you've been paying attention earlier, you would have caught me saying
Destiny.
Up through Seed Destiny.
Silly me.
So there's no Unicorn, no 00, and no Age.
No Age? Get out of here.
Yeah, I know. So disappointed.
Oh my God, I'm heartbroken. But have you guys looked at the director of the series? It looks like his name is Kenji Nagasaki. I'm looking at some of the things he's worked on.
He worked on 00.
He worked on 00, and he worked on the storyboards for Age and was an episode director. He's worked on Monster and Robotics Notes, and Guilty Crown. Just trying to see Eureka 7 and Tango Tenge. One of Neo's favorites.
That aside, what interests me is that the writer for the series is Yosuke Kuroda, who previously wrote 00 and Gunpla Builders.
Good stuff.
Yep.
So I think we're in good hands. Any other thoughts before we move on from Gundam Boyfriend?
Fun. That's all that's all I'm looking for. Fun.
I'm keeping my expectations low, but I can't help but be a little giddy for this series because of the concept. And
I don't think we need to have low expectations just because Age was trash. I give each show the benefit of the doubt at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. And I shouldn't let that experience ruin this for me. But
it's completely different. I mean, this is not Earth versus space. This is the perfect thing.
Crazy
it's not a lofty. It's not a lofty story concept.
This is
that will collapse on itself. This is popcorn Gundam.
I mean, it comes to that. It might be one of these shows that does surprise you, where it's like completely lighthearted and like a Gurren Lagann. Like it's like it's very kind of tongue in cheek at the beginning, and then it develops into something else. So it could be something like that. And if that's what it is, fine. If it's just fight of the week and just super fun, I'm good with that too, because I know that I'm not going into this, the Earth has made all these people move up to space and the space people have now revolted with the prototype mobile suits and have decimated the Earth, and now the Earth has to fight back. Young boy, stolen Gundam. It's like no.
Yeah, we're giving all those cliches a break, and maybe they'll make fun of some of those cliches since this is going to be a meta show.
Mm-hmm.
So
if Gunpla Builders was any indication, then this series should rock. So I'm hoping that'll be the story.
And it's the same writer, so I'm just expecting more of the same, but fleshed out as a TV show compared to just a short OVA. So I'm not going into this with low expectations just because of Age. And we said when we talked about Gunpla Builders, or at least I said, that I would love to have seen a TV version of Gunpla Builders, and now we're getting it. So it's pretty clear that they were just testing the waters with that, and I'm sure it exceeded their expectations, especially the massive popularity of Bear Guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. Freaking Star, it could have his own show. I think it'd be a huge success.
So if that craziness worked, I wouldn't be surprised if we see even more crazy, whacked out versions of some famous mecha along those same lines.
Yeah.
So moving on, we have some news that Tomino, the bald wizard himself, will be directing a Gundam TV show or a Gundam project for the series' 35th anniversary.
Yeah.
That is exciting news.
So I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's been working for a long time on this sort of Skunkworks G-Reco project.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And given how closely these things would be timed and that Gundam's 35th anniversary would be next year.
Right.
I've always sort of had the suspicion, but do you guys think that G-Reco is just a secret Gundam series? And he's been working on that all this time?
I had that inclination because when they announced it, I thought it was going to be like a Gundam project, but maybe no more than an OVA or something. But to be a full-blown TV series, that's pretty amazing. But I had a feeling it was Gundam related, kind of like Gaia Gear or something like that.
Yeah, anytime you have, if it's Tomino's involved and you got the G, just by the fact of being called G-Reco and stuff, I kind of thought about it. But then again, too, yeah, it's hard to say. But
he made some mention of Gundam very early on when he first started talking about G-Reco, so he might have just been giving away a little bit too much there early on.
And it would make sense too, and you would think that Sunrise they know that you give this guy, you give him all this time because he's been working on this for a couple of years, and it's almost one of those things where they know that if any project that he's going to be dealing with that's going to be a Gundam project, especially like on the 35th anniversary, I mean, that right there is going to get people noticing it anyways. But, maybe they finally gave him the time that he needed to do something and they're allowing him to do what he did. And I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but then again, who knows? And I just hope that if they are two separate things, I hope that all of his work that he's been doing in G-Reco doesn't shortchange the Gundam project that he's doing. So, and I honestly, my follow-up question is, do you guys see this as more maybe an OVA or a full TV series? Because I'm thinking just maybe based on his age and kind of his cantankerousness in the past, I'm thinking maybe an OVA, which I'm cool with.
Well,
but
a lot of guys his age are still in the fucking industry. Like, look at Miyazaki. That guy won't stop cranking out movies, and he, I believe, is older than Tomino.
Yeah, they both worked at the animation studio for now I'm blanking on his name. Tezuka Productions. Yeah. So their luminaries are they used to work together. But yeah, Tomino's a little bit younger than him. He
doesn't look physically run down in pictures I've seen of him. So I would think that this being the 35th anniversary, and they always seem to make big deals out of the 5-year anniversaries. Mm-hmm. They want to have a repeat of when they had him do Turn A for the 20th anniversary. Yeah. Just the sheer marketing of, hey, here's the 35th anniversary series from the original creator.
This could be his last one,
It could be his last hurrah.
I think Tomino's at his best when he does a TV show too. I mean, he's had a pretty good track record with most TV shows.
Yeah, don't let him do OVAs.
Yeah, OVAs.
Especially with Byston Well in them.
He tries to cram too many ideas into that. And I can only imagine him sitting on the sidelines, seeing how popular Unicorn was, and seeing how that took off, and went from being a novel to a OVA series, and him chomping at the bit to do another Gundam series after that. And it makes you wonder: is G-Reco or the series he's working on going to be in the Universal Century? Is it going to be an alternate universe like Turn A Gundam?
I would say that. I mean, if they're smart, the real buzz would be having him do the 30th anniversary television show that's set in Universal Century. Maybe years down the road, but set in some time like that. I mean, either that or hell, you never know. Maybe we'll get the one thing that my hope and dream is, the pre-1 year war, television show, like, the buildup of where they got to in the 1 year war. That would be, because we've had everything past it and during it. Mm-hmm. Maybe it might be time to see something animated that's before it. I don't know.
Not enough bubble suits.
That's true. That is true.
Maybe something in the vein of like a Legend of Galactic Heroes, but about the the turmoil leading up to the 1 year war. Like, you know, something that's on the
but
scale.
like
of that
Chris
would
just
be kinda
said,
cool.
not on the mobile suits.
Yeah,
so sorry. Hope and dream denied.
Damn you guys, just shooting my shit.
Hey man, I mean, it's just common sense. Not enough mobile suits.
That's true.
I would think though, if you really want this to pop, you would have it set in Universal Century. I mean, because like we just said, this could be his last one. So he started off at Universal Century. Maybe this is his last one. He ended in Universal Century. You know, I don't know.
We'll see. Although to me, honestly, you know, the setting doesn't really matter that much as long as he's got a solid team, and you know, if he can produce something on the same level as Turn A, I don't care if it's set in Clown Century.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Clowns do kind of freak me out, so it may take a while to get a little comfortable before I can watch that. So.
And the main character will be Maribel. Clown Century, man. Yeah, I'm excited to see where that goes, man. I wonder if we're going to get a little bit of old Dark Tomino back, or if it's going to be Happy Tomino from Turn A, man. Only time will tell.
Well, he's pretty much been Happy Tomino for a long time, so I don't mind.
As long as we don't get Wings of Rian Tomino. That's all I'm asking.
As long as we get Turn A and King Gainer Tomino, that Tomino I'm happy with.
There you go.
Definitely.
That's what I'm talking about.
So, next item up is that Sunrise actually made some mention of the origin.
Oh, now we're talking.
I feel a dream being crushed, though.
Oh.
Which they said to watch for in 2014 or 2015. Now, this definitely does make the origin a bit more solid now that they've actually seen fit to mention it again for the first time in, 2 years? But I'm still kind of iffy on this, and I am more believing of the fact that it will happen now, but the fact that they so hastily announced it 2 years ago, didn't even know what format it would be, said nothing about it for 2 years, and now they're saying next year or the year after that, you know, I'll start to get excited about it when I actually see a trailer and hear some confirmed release dates.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, because it just reminds me of, you know, Turn A on DVD. Oh yeah, it was 2 years ago.
Damn.
And it's not that I don't want to admit that it's happening. It's just that a lot of things get announced and don't get made. So, you know, the fact that they've been so quiet about this for so long, and sort of seems like they just kind of hastily announced it and didn't know what they were doing about it, gives me a bit of pause, and I will just wait for an actual trailer to see some actual physical animation, and then I'll get excited about it.
So we shouldn't quite file it with the Seed movie, but we shouldn't still get too excited until we see some actual footage.
Well,
basically.
at least they've mentioned it again.
Yeah.
Whereas the Seed movie was mentioned once or twice and then forgotten. If they keep mentioning the origin in the subsequent months and years, then yes, we can say that the origin has outlived the Seed movie and become a thing.
So what you're saying is expected in 2016.
Well, no, I mean the thing is at least with Origin, they give you somewhat of a time thing, even though it's very broad. It's like 2014, 2015, where it gives them it gives people hope of it might happen, but yet it kind of gives Sunrise the out of well, nothing happens in 2014. It's you know, and then by the time if 2015 rolls around, people pretty much forget by then. So, you know, it's one of those situations where, you know, they're kind of committing, but they're non-committal at the same time.
Yeah, you have to wonder why they're giving themselves so much cushioning of it could be next year or the year after that. I mean,
considering they usually do this,
considering
they usually announce these things a few months before they actually happen. So,
yeah,
you know.
And the fact that they still haven't even said if it's a TV show or an OVA or a movie or whatever. So that's what makes me hesitant. Why can't you if you've been working on it for these last 2 years, supposedly, why can't you just give some more information about it other than expect it within the next 2 years?
I'll give you guys this question. And maybe Solbro shouldn't answer because we already know the answer. But do you really want this?
Not really. Which was my initial attitude 2 years ago. I mean, if I want the origin, I'll go read the origin. I don't need to see the anime adaptation of the manga adaptation of the anime. That's like playing Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Just a little too out there.
Soul Bro.
There are moments in Gundam the Origin I would love to see animated, like the scene where Kai and Sayla and Amuro are escaping the Zeons in the Jeep, and Kai's drifting like it's Initial D, and Amuro's got that bazooka, and they're just going to town. I love the way that set piece is set up, and there's other set pieces in there I would love to see animated. So it's a guilty pleasure for me to see it animated. I could still at least have the fallback of the mangas, which I'm proud to own and love reading. But if they animated it, I'd be there to watch it. That's for sure.
I'll put it this way. Yes, it would be great to see the original series redone with modern animation and with all the story tweaks of the Origin, but I would always rather see something new, even if it retreads the 1 Year War yet again, than to just go and do this old story exactly again with these characters, especially when it comes to the deeply contentious issue of who your voice cast is going to be.
That's true.
Because we've already seen things like the knives came out for Zeta Gundam when they went and recast a bunch of the voice actors. It happened with Saint Seiya, and God, you know it's going to happen with the Origin if they end up not using Furuya or Ikeda or some of these other people who are still around.
Yeah, I mean, the one benefit of Origin being animated is it will introduce the original story of Gundam to a whole new audience that would not read the manga of the Origin or watch the original series because it's.
Are you sure about that though?
It would introduce it to some people. It would. There's no doubt in my mind.
I mean, but that's arbitrary saying. I mean, but I don't know. See, I'm with Chris. Right. I don't really want to see it because what does it do to the original work that Tomino did? I mean, what I mean, he did his tweaks when it came to the movie trilogy on the series. Right. And I mean, okay, so you do the Gundam the Origin, now just like all of the stuff that gets remade now this becomes all of a sudden this is what, everybody's identifying it with, where I mean, yeah, the original show and, parts of the movie, there's still those issues. They cleaned up a lot of it in the movie. But I mean, in the end, this is what was originally there. And sometimes, what you have and what makes these things so special, it kind of, you can't recreate it or anything like that. So,
and let's not kid ourselves. Bandai doesn't need to have the Origin to sell a zillion more Char Zakus and RX-78s. Those are going to be sold anyway without this ever having to exist. That's sort of my issue here. They really don't need these to push those. There's always going to be more RX-78s and Char Zakus.
Yeah. I mean, there's so many different versions of the Dash 2 and the Master Grade. Mm-hmm. I mean, you just go and you look at the model kits. I mean, there's so many different ones, and everybody buys them, and they're all cool. So I don't know. It's cool. Like I said, Origin, I think, as a story, as a manga, it works. It's nice to see it. It's nice to see some of the updating they did where, Amuro is a hacker and, some of the things that they're doing. But I mean, what does this do to the original work? That's kind of my thing. This would be like to people taking original Star Wars and redoing it just because maybe there's I mean, you can jokes aside with Lucas and stuff, but I'm just saying if there was a similar thing with Star Wars or Star Trek, something like this with Gundam the Origin, what does that do to the original work? Just because something's old doesn't mean it's bad.
Yeah, not at all.
And I think that's, I mean, if that's all they're doing it for because they're trying to catch an audience because a bunch of people now are like, I don't want to watch anything that was animated before 2005. Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell them because if you truly like a story, I mean, it doesn't matter how old it is. Hell, I'll watch a movie made in the 30s as long as it's. No, you know what's sad is I like the original Scarface better than the freaking Al Pacino one.
What is she talking about? Shoes crazy. What's she talking about?
That one better.
The Cuban has come out.
Sorry, Chris
How
Montana.
can you say that you like that old crap better than 80s Scarface? You're crazy.
Maybe that's a bad example because most of my stuff with 80s Scarface is I'm just burnt out because every person you ever talk to, it's like, what's your favorite movie? It's like Scarface. Like, no.
Shout out to Chris Montana.
You freaking cockroaches.
I will say though, it does have that shocking, the shocking scene with the chainsaw though. I mean, that is has been often duplicated, but never often imitated but not duplicated. So pretty shocking. But I don't know. Origin, like I said, I'm not down with. I don't care if they do it or not. I'm not really wanting it to, but I'm with everybody here. It's still sketchy with 2014, 2015, sometime in the 21st century. So,
well, that'll bring us to our last item, which I will kick to Neo because he was at the ground level for this, which is the announcement that Daisuke will be streaming Double Zeta.
Yeah,
why don't you give us some information on that about what was going on in that panel there?
Well, I mean, Sunrise had the panel at Anime Expo. They were going through a lot of their offerings that are coming into America this year. A lot of stuff with Tiger and Bunny and Gintama, and some of those other shows. One that looked really funny was you guys ever hear Daily Lives of High School Boys? It's just it looks kind of dumb, but I was watching the thing. It looked kind of funny. It probably would get old after a while because it's just high school kids being stupid. But so they went through all that, and then they had to wrap up everything on the Sunrise panel. The second to last thing was talking about Akito the Exiled, and then the last thing they did probably something they did the year before on the convention run because it was dated like 2011, was the World of Gundam. They went through all the different, the Gundam shows, definitely talked about the new Age OVA that's coming out, or movie that's coming out. And then at the end was, and now what we're announcing a new edition that we're going to be releasing very soon on Daisuke. And everybody's like, and they go, Double Zeta. And everybody was kind of like, huh? Because it's not that it's a bad show, but I mean, for what you would think of, what was it? 2 years ago, it was announced that Turn A was going to be released on DVD with English subtitles and all this stuff. And the conventional thinking of just because of how things are with a Gundam show that hasn't been released in America, a lot of people, because I actually was sitting around some people and they say, we're going to be releasing something on Daisuke, and somebody behind me said Turn A, and it's like, no, Double Zeta. So sometime in the near future, they're going to be releasing Double Zeta. So I was shocked. I immediately emailed these guys to let them know so they could post it up and everything. But when you got that email, Chris and Soulbro, were you kind of like, okay?
I'm really not at all surprised because if you think about it, Double Zeta is the only part of this really old school Gundam that hasn't been released here. Yeah. So there's that gap to be filled, between Zeta and Char's Counterattack. Mm-hmm. Then you've got Unicorn, which has been doing, I guess, decently in America, and obviously has a lot of connections back to Double Zeta. Yep. So it would sort of make sense to release that because that ties in pretty closely with something that is being currently released.
Plus Daisuke currently already has Zeta Gundam in their library, so why not have the sequel there for people who are interested?
Yeah, I mean, and then you could seamlessly do it that you watch Zeta on Daisuke, and then once you're done with that, you just hop in and watch Double Zeta and pick right up.
And be my deft.
And it was funny because when they went through this World of Gundam thing, of course they, talk about what Gundam is, and then they do kind of a roll call of the shows as they came out, and they would show like, 0079, and they'd be like, Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeta Gundam, blah, blah, blah. And everything that wasn't released in America, they didn't mention. You would see it, but it wasn't mentioned on the voice track. And it was like, there was a good point there. It was like, Mobile Suit Gundam, Zeta Gundam, they didn't say anything for Zeta, and then it was like all the shows that were afterwards, and then of course the few like the what is it like Igloo and Turn A and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I was just I guess just because of the buildup and everybody's been wanting that. But I agree with you. After thinking about it, I was in the same way too. It's like it does kind of make sense. And my initial kind of shock or kind of what the hell thing wasn't the fact because it's bad. I mean, we've discussed Double Zeta. It's got its good and it's got its bad, but it was interesting. And you know what? It's as I've been thinking about, I'm actually getting kind of excited now to see it because I'd like to see the treatment that they. Hopefully, we can get it with some good subtitles.
Well, look at it this way. Out of these old Gundam shows that have not been released here of Double Zeta and Victory and X and Turn A, you got to start somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
And,
why not start with the oldest?
Whichever one you start with, there's going to be people who wish that you started with something else.
Yeah.
So if they had chosen X, sure, we'd be elated by that. But then people saying, oh, why didn't you start with Victory or Turn A? And then if you start with Turn, people say, oh, why didn't you start with X? Or why didn't you start with Double Zeta? Blah, 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 blah. So, either way, you have to begin somewhere if you're going to be releasing these old Gundam shows on Daisuke. So might as well get the oldest one out of the way, especially since it's the sequel to one of the shows you already have streaming right now. So to me, it makes perfect sense to start with Double Zeta, and I don't mind that they're starting with that. I hope that this is not the first and only unreleased Gundam show that they stream, and I do hope that they get around to giving us Victory and X and Turn A in the future.
Yeah, I'm thinking about it too. It's like it is Universal Century, and for whatever you can say about Sunrise, their focus is always going to be, Universal Century is always going to have that little priority focus. So, looking at it that way, it does make a lot more sense with it, especially like you said earlier, they already got Zeta out. All the other, Universal Centuries that came afterwards up to Unicorn have been available. So, yeah, I mean, I'm ready to go on that. So, yeah, you're right, though. I hope it's not the last one. And I hope it does happen because they didn't really have a date on it. So it was just kind of one of those, this will be up soon. So whatever that means.
And here's hoping that they step up their release schedule because the sort of drip, drip, drop release that they've been doing isn't really cutting it. I'd like to see them step up and release more episodes of stuff every single week to sort of get these things out sooner because, why bother watching things if it takes them forever to get through these shows and get the whole thing up?
Go ahead.
Now the one thing that was a little interesting, whenever we get the recording of the panel up, they talked about Age. The Age movie is going to be on on Gundam Info. So I'm wondering. I hope there's not there's a conflict here. Sunrise is part of Daisuke, that little, that kind of joint venture with those other studios. But then they released, Gundam.info, and like in the news,
they're putting 00 on Gundam.info rather than on Daisuke. So maybe there's still some
issues,
mixed up strategy and lack of clarity of what they're doing because they're putting Zeta and Seed and Double Zeta on Daisuke, but then at the same time they're dropping 00 on Gundam.info. So, and
then they're dropping 5 episodes a week on Gundam.info,
which you wish Daisuke would do. So
instead of 1 every time they feel like.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely need to kick up the pace, man. Because I go back and I check on what episodes of Zeta are up there, and it's like, wow, only 5 or 6? Come on, guys. I
might as well just watch my DVDs.
Yeah, I was just popping my DVDs, guys. Or back when it was on YouTube, the whole daggone thing was up there. So, yeah, I mean, I thought that was going to be the deal, that they would throw all the episodes of the show up there so that people can just run through it at will and then be clamoring for another Gundam series whenever they decide to put that up. But I guess they're doing it the way they see fit, and I just hope that they realize that faster is better in this case.
We'll see.
We'll see soon enough. So watch for more news about all of these projects, and it goes without saying that when Build Fighters starts up in October, we're going to be covering it regularly like we did with 00 and Age. So watch for those discussions.
Makes finding a topic for every other episode a lot easier.
Yeah, it sure does, I guess. So we will definitely be hitting that up starting in October, and that will put an end to this segment. We'll be right back. You're listening to Gundam at MAHQ.
美しい剣は人と人つなげて巡り来る切 はさ悲しみを払ってあなたとの間に命ある形をこの星に捧げる愛という印で
Open. God damn it, open! Prime, you said the Matrix would light our darkest hour.
Magnus! I want the Matrix!
Never!
I thought they smelled bad on the outside on upcoming superhero movies.
Scott, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
Why?
Because there is another movie that we must discuss.
Oh, what's that?
Man of Steel.
Oh, Man of Steel. Okay.
Wait for someone to say that.
Here's my thoughts on Man of Steel. It's Zack Snyder directing Kryptonian on Kryptonian violence. And as much as I'm annoyed that they're recycling a Superman villain we've already seen on screen, and that there are plenty of Superman villains we could talk about.
But he was the best Superman villain.
This is going to be the best Dragon Ball Z movie ever.
I have no frame of reference for Dragon Ball Z.
Please check our website at sbopodcast.blogspot.com.
From a time long ago, in a basement far away, there comes a time when there's only one hero to protect us all from the trolls, warranted and unwarranted.
Is it him?
Against Gundam Seed Destiny.
It appears destiny is firmly on my side. What?
There stands a man who alone will defend the honor of said show for all to enjoy.
You're something that shouldn't have been allowed to exist, boy! Just shut up!
His name rings out and is like curses to those evildoers.
If people learned of your existence, they would want to be just as you are!
That name, Jabman 025, Defender of Destiny!
You shouldn't blame me! This is mankind's dream! Mankind's desire! Mankind's destiny!
Coming this fall on WSBR, your home for DVR hits.
Wow, this is pretty cool.
Just gotta keep on trucking, yes sir! I'm gonna go outside and make myself a nice big shiny first place medal, sit in the sun, and have a stupendous friggin' day! God damn it!
Well, alright, you're messy. Would you make me a medal too?
Welcome back to Gundam at MAHQ. This closes out episode 127, where we actually reviewed the second volume of Gundam The Origin, the Garma chapter. And I was going to say that you can go and pick that book up, but apparently it's sold out. So,
well, it's not sold out. It's just what's out there is what's left.
What's out there is what's left. So if you guys come across a copy, snatch it up.
Yeah, if it's one of these things where you find it online somewhere and payday's not for a couple of days, borrow money from someone.
There you go,
because if you wait a couple of days, it may not be there. So,
and make sure you put your pre-order in for
steal from your parents, sell drugs, do whatever you need to do.
Yeah. Chop up that brick.
States like mine where you get a bottle deposit, go to various dumpsters and dumpster dive for bottles and cans.
Get Heisenberging on that.
That's right. Take the Walter White course in self-employment.
As long as you respect the chemistry.
There you go.
Now that would be an interesting anime where it'd be like some crazy otaku who's like, I must buy everything that's anime, yet I can't afford it. I'm just gonna start doing. Luckily, I'm a good chemist or something like that. I'm just gonna do methamphetamine instead of paying for cancer treatment. It's like, in a way, Walter White was a little justified, but
I don't need to worry about my family. I don't even care about my family. I need all of the anime.
Build Fighters is coming out, and
gotta build that surplus.
There's 400 new mecha coming in, new mecha kits coming out during it.
I got models to buy.
Yeah.
Woman, I don't care about electricity. I gotta buy Gunpla.
You kind of would need it. Well, you could probably do it. You could probably do them by candlelight. You probably could do them, or like a Coleman lantern. So,
Bills, what's those? But we talked about that, and also we talked about all the upcoming news. It's all the news that broke out this week based on Gundam properties, especially with Gundam Build Fighters.
In the last few weeks.
In the last few weeks with Gundam Build Fighters and G-Reco and all the like, and the second segment. And this episode, we're going to go ahead and postpone the mailbag until next episode, where we have plenty of questions to answer. And you guys got a lot of questions answered last episode, so I hope you guys enjoyed that. But before we close this episode out, any last thoughts from you guys?
No.
All right. Well, when you guys have a time, please check out these websites. Head on over where the magic happens. MAHQ.net. That's the Mecha and Anime headquarters. Also, make sure you visit Gundam.net, the official website for the Gundam at MAHQ podcast, and where you can download and find information on this episode and our entire back catalog. Join in on the conversation at mechatalk.net, where you can also find official forums for Gundam, where you can submit questions, topics, and reply to anything that we said in this episode. All other links for Gundam at MAHQ can be found at about.me/Gundam. There you will find links to us on iTunes, Facebook, YouTube, and our other media facets. After listening to Gundam, the next podcast you should be listening to is Chaos Theater, MAHQ's other podcast that focuses on other facets of nerddom, hosted by the webmaster of MAHQ himself, Chris Guanche, and everybody's favorite pedal bear of the South, Pedro Cortez. Listen to them at chaostheater.blogspot.com. Shinjuku Station also has a podcast that focuses on fighting games, called Fighters Ready, hosted by Gundam's own Sobro Ryu and his co-host Nick the Stampede. Fight your way on over to fightersready.net, where you can download episodes and join in on the conversation. And as I promised a few weeks ago on the Gundam forums and on the Twitter page for Gundam at MAHQ, I wanted to give shout-outs to several people who went out and picked up Gundam The Origin and posted pictures of it. First, all the people on Twitter that picked up the book. Eric Metz, who's at Eric Metz. Yuri, who's at Yuri_Ordeste, Ordeste is how it's spelled. Next is at Ronin0510. Richard L. Zarth III, which is at RLZIII. Shaz, who goes by at ShazMyBot on Twitter. James Tan, who you can follow on Twitter at Bloody Knight 85, and that's Knight spelled KNIGHT. Next is Flame X, longtime listener. You can follow him at CyberXSpeed. And lastly, my man Kyle, who goes by the name of at Highest Metal. Clearly, you must be Gundanium. Next up, all the players on the Facebook group for MAHQ, starting off with longtime listener Daniel Mason, the great grandfather of Howard Mason.
Howard Mason!
That's right, your favorite red shirt from 00. Next is Nick Bergensky, also another favorite person of Gundam, at least one of my favorites, Jabman025, also known as Jeff Batchelor. Matthew Kyle, Jeff Kenda, Robert Hayes, longtime listener of Gundam, goes by the pseudonym of Arbiter Gundam, our favorite Macross news specialist. Josh Lawrence Rosenberg, Jay Steinbrecker, my man, the one and only Nick the Stampede, aka Nick Bybee, Tom Winicki, Oscar Esqueda, Kevin Comer, JT Frey, Adam Walton, Enrique Ramos, Xavier Baptiste, of course one of our favorite people, the host of the I Thought They Smelled Bad on the Outside podcast, the Foul Sorceress, aka Scott Walker, Shahid Bashir, and my man Sasuna F. Black, one of our longtime listeners from Philly, Adam Ankra. Many thanks to everybody who bought the book and going out there and supporting Gundam The Origin. Hopefully, those who listen to this, I'll be doing the same thing for book 3. So if you get the chance, make sure you go out there and pre-order the book now on Amazon for Gundam The Origin book 3. And my apologies for anybody who I might have missed. I scanned through weeks and weeks and weeks of posts to find everybody who actually bought the book and posted up pictures. But thank you all who participated, and I hope to see you guys again on the next shout out list
for Gundam The Origin Book 3.
And that's it for Gundam at MAHQ. We'll see you guys next time.
Si l'aviation ne parvient pas.
Just because the apocalypse is here doesn't mean you can't look and feel your best. My exclusive kaiju harvesting and preservation process can provide you with all the kaiju organs, tissue, and bodily fluids you need to lose weight, look younger, beat cancer, prevent heart attacks and strokes, cure insomnia, reverse balding, treat depression, anxiety, ED, OCD, ADD, lactose intolerance, incontinence, and restless leg syndrome. Our products are 100% authentic and non-toxic. We thoroughly neutralize the acidity of all kaiju remains to ensure they're completely safe for your consumption. So don't wait one more minute. End your suffering, enhance your life, and be the best you can be before we all become extinct. Call, click, or look for your kaiju symbol at your local black market today.
Gundam at MAHQ is a
Shinjuku Station
and MAHQ.net joint.
There is no tradition really in Western live action about robots that are 250 foot high. It's basically a building walking around.
The term Jaeger is German for hunter. It's one of the nicknames for these mechs.
Mecha culture is obviously something that hasn't been done a lot for mainstream audiences. So we needed to top what had gone before, and we needed to get bigger and badder.
I was very influenced by anime, mainly the anime of my youth, Tetsujin 28. I really assembled a group of designers that knew and loved anime. The only rule I gave to the whole crew is that we should never discuss reference. We would respond only to the design of that particular robot within the universe of Pacific Rim. The first step on designing the robots was we did like 40, 50 silhouettes of all the robots. And we just looked at the silhouettes and I said, this one's good, this one's good, this one's good. And then we would grab that silhouette and start developing that robot.
Garma's been very clear that he wants to differentiate all the Jaegers, to come up with a personality, an attitude that each of them have that makes them different.
Ready to activate the Jaeger in 3, 2, 1.
The Russians control the Jaeger called Cherno Alpha. It looks like a big tank. It's incredibly powerful.
There's the Chinese Jaeger, run by the Ways, the triplets.
I think that would be really visually exciting to see 3 people piloting one of these Jaegers.
A striker is the Mark V Jaeger. She's faster and more fluid and more agile than any other Jaeger.
Gypsy Danger is the very special Jaeger. That's the sort of hero Jaeger.
Gypsy Danger, we wanted very much to feel like a classical gunslinger. And we gave it the anatomy of a big cowboy. I wanted the majesty of a tanker, big flat surfaces made of a lot of plating. And in between those things, you see this intricate machine moving. Pistons and levers and gears that are creating the mechanical movement. We revealed that level of design only in certain areas. That gives a frequency to our robots that you haven't seen in live action in any film. We really wanted to design these mechas to be robots that would make us excited when we were 10 or 12 years old. I didn't want to reference any other work of fiction in the design of the Jaegers. I didn't want them to look like a certain mecha or to look like a certain piece of anime or another movie. I wanted them to be all their own.